Hello, and welcome to The Kosh. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and The Kosh is a podcast that spotlights the people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing this morning? It is another fantastic weekend morning. I'm not going to lie, y'all. So y'all going to have to put up with me this episode. I am getting over a bout of the COVID. It came down on me. It dropped knee drops and put me in a full Nelson and all those other, it rock bottomed me, all those other good wrestling moves. It put a beat down on me a little bit. So what I am finding out, but I'm past the point of like, I can't hurt other people. Otherwise we wouldn't be recording. But what I am going to say is we are learning how to breathe again. That is, I can't stress that. Like, you don't realize how that thing puts you in this chokehold and your breathing is all disrupted. So look, y'all, be patient with me this episode. I'm going to try to be right. And if I don't quite sound like my normal self, that is because we are still working out our breathing airways and all the other good things that have to deal with COVID. And you know what? I'm going to wish to y'all, Kosh listeners, I'm going to wish that you don't get this nonsense because it ain't great. You know, that may give you a sign of when we recorded this particular episode. So, but enough of that. In this case, you know, I'm really excited because we haven't recorded in a couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to sit down. We've got amazing guests. Wait, let me just say, you know what? I don't know how I continue to get these amazing guests, and this week isn't any different. We've got to have a fire episode. I've met these young ladies, and they're coming with it. They're coming with it. They had a spark in their eye. They're ready to conversate. They're ready to talk to y'all and share some things. So I am excited about the opportunity to facilitate. Without any further ado, this week's guest is Jennifer Philibeck and Mandy Rinne. All right. See, I meant to ask for the enunciation. I even said, you know what? We got to talk about these enunciations. And then I never asked.
All good.
It's all good. All right. Well, and Jennifer, do you go by Jennifer or do you go by Jen?
Depends on who you are.
Oh.
My family calls me Jennifer. My friends call me Jen. Some people call me Jenny. So we'll go with Jen today.
I'm going to be a Jen because I don't want to be what the parents call you. That's no good.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a good place to be. All right, so Jen and Mandy, how are y'all doing today?
Great.
We are good.
Yeah?
Bruh.
Well, Kosh listeners, what they have informed me of is this is their first podcast, so they're getting the full experience. Yeah, they're shaking their heads at me.
Yeah, this is the best first one to start with.
I do believe that, you know. So we're excited to share things with them. But let's really kick it off. You ready to jump in?
Yeah, thank you so much for having us today.
Oh,
We are super excited, and we love that there's a dog here too.
Oh, not just any dog. That is Bosco, the podcast dog. And he will be he's laid out, look, Kosh listeners, he is laid out in all of his glory. But at some point, I know that he's going to go bother them for belly rubs. You know how Bosco gets down. And at some point, he will probably bring a squeaky toy in here because that is what he does. But right now, he looks like he's ready for a nap. He's not playing around. So, Jen, Mandy, can you please share a little something about yourself and your connection with the Kosh?
Yeah. So Mandy and I met teaching together at North Greenville Elementary School in the Hortonville School District in like 2017. And fast forward 7 years, we both left teaching and decided that we wanted to pursue making a positive impact on family and kids' lives in a different way through Kids Life Coaching. So along the way, we started a studio, Kids Life Coaching Studio, and now our partners, and we get to with families and kids every day, helping them be their best selves through individual and play-based group coaching. We work with kids age 5 to 13, working on them, building their confidence, their resilience, and just empowering them to be the leader of their own life, which is a really amazing experience and something that we couldn't have fully done in the classroom as teachers. So it's been exciting.
All right, Kosh listeners, just so you know, that was Jen. Because we want to make sure we know the voices until we know the voices. We'll know the voices soon here. So that was Jen. Jen, tell us more. Like, are you born and raised in this region?
Yeah, I'm a Youper.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm from the Upper Michigan, born and raised. And then I spread my wings, moved out to D.C., spent a lot of time out there. And when I knew I wanted to start a family, I moved back to the area, but didn't want to be in the Upper Michigan anymore. So came to Appleton, and that's where I am now. So
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I love it.
Youpers are really like Wisconsin's close cousins.
Sure are. Well, and I was in Menominee, which is like right on the border. So I felt like more of a Wisconsinite more than a Youper, but still true to my 906 area code.
There's one question that we can ask to figure out, well, how do you really stand? What's the football team?
Oh, Packers.
All right, then we already know.
Yeah.
We already know. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mandy?
I grew up in Oshkosh, actually. I lived here most of my life. Went to St. Peter's School in Oshkosh for elementary, and then St. John Newman, and then eventually in high school at Lourdes. And I moved to De Pere, went to St. Norbert for college, and got my teaching degree. And I live in Greenville now.
Okay, so you came up through the system.
Sure did.
Yeah, not only that, I know you're super Kosh because, as you shared with me previously, your parents live in the neighborhood still.
Yeah.
That's
just
awesome.
Super close. I was shocked to see how close. It was awesome.
Hey, no, that is fantastic. To me, that speaks to the Kosh. That's super Kosh. Okay, let me ask this because let's dive into empowered minds. So, why? What made you do it? And can we go a little more in depth about what it is? Mm-hmm. Let's really share with the Kosh listeners what it is. What are you hoping to do and accomplish with it? And like, who are you really serving? Like, I know you're serving kids, but there's a lot of demographics inside of that word called kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Jen and I, both of us, are certified Kids Life coaches through Kids Life Studio. And we felt very strongly, I think, as teachers about the social emotional learning aspect of kids. And we love building relationships. And that was the most important and most, light bulb moment for us. And so we wanted to do that. And so when we got certified, Jen actually kind of started the process.
I roped Mandy in.
Yeah.
I discovered Kids Life Coaching, and then when I knew that it was a thing, I was like, this is the thing for me.
Let me ask a quick question so I don't forget it. Mainly, but okay, Kids Life Coaching is such an interesting term, but right away I'm asking, how's that different than parenting?
That's a great question.
Beautiful question. Really, it's not a whole lot different than parenting, besides that it's not coming from your parent. Right? So,
Facts.
right? So we know that when your parents could tell you something all day, every day, but then as soon as somebody else shares that nugget of wisdom with you, you take it in a completely different way than when your parents were telling you. Right? Because it's somebody on the outside. So that's why the village mentality, right? Like you need to have a village is so important because not always do we glean the wisdom from our parents that we maybe should. So somebody from the outside being able to share and add to what your parents are already telling you and the values that they're already trying to instill it's helpful, right?
No, that makes so much sense because messenger matters. And let's be honest, no matter how much as a parent you love your children, trying to get them to actually listen to you.
Right. Well, and Mandy and I are both moms, right? So we get like the mom aspect of it and like being a parent. And we also know that our kids don't listen to us half the time. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, they probably are, right? They're just taking it in a different way. But so we also know that when you're in it, you can only see what you're seeing when you're in it. And so a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So using our background as teachers and knowing that like teaching through play and engagement and entertainment is so crucial for kids. We tapped into that. And so all of our coaching is play-based coaching. So everything we do is very engaging, very entertaining, hands-on, science experiments. We're really like tapping into how kids learn best. And not all parents have the time, energy, or the foresight to be able to, I guess, teach in that way, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think parenting comes from how you were parented, right? And you know what you know. And a lot of parents work. They work so hard or have multiple jobs, and they may not have the time to come up with creative ways or to engage or to be part. They're just trying to make sure that there's food on the table and
Absolutely.
work hard, and then hopefully make it to some of their kids' events and stuff like that. Like that there already is parenting in a nutshell summed up, and that's not easy to do nowadays.
I think too those parents are doing the best that they can with what they have, and we all are doing that, but we're in a almost like a hamster wheel, right? This is how our day goes. This is how our life is going. We sometimes can't see out, like Jen said, what some of the tips that we might give. So one of the things that's really happening for us right now is parents are going, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I never thought of that tip. And they're trying things like with technology use. And, we offer suggestions of like, let's do a checklist. And these things have to be accomplished before, X amount of screen time. And then you set that timer, and when that timer is done, the kid is done, but it's not on you, it's on the timer, because the timer's the one going off, right? So they take that information and they're like, oh my gosh, that worked. That's crazy, right? And it's not, they just didn't know to try it before, right? So I think that's really powerful too, is that we're trying to build a community for not just kids, but for families. And to get parents to know, like, hey, we all struggle with all kinds of things, but let's work together and talk about the things that are working for you and are working for me, and how can we share? How can we be that village that Jen talked about?
Well, there's another piece now that I'm hearing that seems different about your coaching, and that is this. So, like, apparently you're coaching the parents too. So, like, normal coaching, you're focused on one individual and you're working them through their plan, but you're actually, in your coaching, you're engaging the children, and then you're also advising the parent in how to be more engaging. Is this what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. And that kind of was a little bit of it happened organically, I will say. We went into this kids first always, right? That was like our mindset, like that we're doing it for the kids, we're coaching the kids, we're giving them the skills, the tools to navigate life. Like, we're not telling them that we're going to take all the problems away. We're just going to help them when challenges arise, how to navigate through that. And then we realized that really it's the whole family. And so through all of our coaching experiences, we just saw that the whole family aspect was where our coaching needed to go as well. So we do like a small group coaching, which we're kind of tweaking the name. We're in the works of tweaking the name, because I think that maybe gives a different feel for it. But so it's only a 4-week program, but it involves the whole family. So the parents come with the kids, and we create this really beautiful environment where people can kind of just like be themselves. And we work on the whole family. Like, what are your family values? How do you communicate as a family? What are the roles and responsibilities? Like, whose job is it to determine what bedtime is? Or whose job is it to pick out what activities you like to do after school? Like, those types of things that maybe we don't naturally talk about. And then also working with the kids individually for part of the time, but then really creating that whole family bond, again, that has kind of weakened over time, I think, in our society. Like that family connection and bonding time maybe could use a little strengthening. So it's a great opportunity to be able to do that.
What made you decide to move to leave teaching and move in this direction? Because, in a way, teaching feels like a forum in which some of that does happen, right? I mean, God knows I know there's challenges out there for teaching, for teachers. I've worked in the school system before myself. And yeah, that there's nothing easy about that. So let me just give the big fact to all our educators out there who are working with our youth and trying to help create great futures for them and helping with family dynamics in ways. But what made you step away from that arena to go into your own arena to do it?
Great question. I think Mandy and I both thought that we were going to be teachers for life. You know, like I knew I wanted to be a teacher in 5th grade. That was the trajectory. Like that was the plan. And, you know, went to college. Everything I did was leading up to being a teacher and loved it. I stepped out of teaching actually during COVID. I had a 1-year-old at home and I was pregnant with my second, and I was due in September of 2020. And I knew that I didn't want to go back into the classroom. Childcare was really difficult at the time. And so I figured, you know, this is a good time for me to stay home and be a mom to my kids. So that was kind of how I removed myself from the classroom at that time. I stayed home and was a stay-at-home mom. And as the kids got a little older and ready to get into preschool, I thought, okay, I'm ready to dip my toes back in. What am I going to do? I'm not ready to go back into the classroom again. Then I discovered that Kids Life Coaching was this thing. And I thought, once I knew it was out there, there was no going back to the classroom. I knew that I would be able to do all the things I loved the most about teaching, which was like the relationships and the connections and developing those life skills and habits and routines and things with kids that just like you see their eyes light up. I knew that I'd be able to do that through Kids Life Coaching much more than I could as a teacher. And then I made Mandy come with me.
She sure did.
Mandy, tell us, what about your journey? Why the change?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's new for me. I just finished up my 21st year of teaching, and Jen kind of was nudging along the way. I have loved teaching with all my heart, but there's a lot to it. I mean, teachers are incredible humans.
Facts. Bruh. Understatement of the year.
There's just so much to it, and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I wanted to be good for kids and in all academic areas, and it's really hard to be perfect. No one's perfect, right? At all the things, the reading and the math and the writing and the social emotional learning. And I'd say over the last 10 years, I've just really felt strongly about social emotional learning and really teaching those skills to kids and watching them grow and watching them love to discover how to name their emotions, how to regulate their emotions. And I tried to infuse that all day long, right? Because it's not just one subject area. That's a life skill. And I did some work with the Little Spot Books, which is a children's series by Diane Elber. I did some editing for her and some training videos and just became more and more immersed in social emotional learning. And then Jen was like, oh, I found this program and everything I'm reading, it says it's you, it's Mandy. And I was like, okay. And then she'd like send me another video and I was like, that's cool. That's really great. And then we had met, I think, I don't know, for dinner or at Mile of Music. And she was like, no, for real, Mandy, I'm doing this and you have to do it. And I was like, I'm comfort zone, right? I like to be comfortable. And then I kind of started looking into it. And then I interviewed with the program that we went through. And I was like, you know what? This will be great. I will use this in my classroom. Absolutely, that's what I'm going to do. And our leader of this organization was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. You're going to finish this program and you're going to want to do this on your own. And I was like, I don't think so. Well, lo and behold, here we are. And Jen and I have thought so similarly about kids and teaching to their hearts for so long. And she's the perfect partner. And so my word this year is leap. I took the leap, right? And here we are.
Facts. That is so awesome. And then you said a cool word like Mile of Music. Did you go this year?
I didn't go this year.
I did not either.
I am so sad to hear that because I went and it was fire. But we'll talk about that later.
I usually love going, and this year we were up in the UP.
We need to make it a celebration. Like every year we should do that. Like that's the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh yeah, that was
the moment.
Mile of Music is going to become a timber staycation every year. Like I'm getting an Airbnb, even though I live in Oshkosh. Oh no, I got one this year. It was the best move we ever did. Like because we got one like a mile away, so it was super easy to just get in and out. And me and my wife, I think we saw literally there's no way we saw less than 20 shows.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. And then just to think that it's free. So you got to take advantage of resources like that while they exist, because you never know what could happen where they don't. Or at least not for free.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are doing coaching, kids life coaching. That term it gets me, because I'm just thinking, okay, I'm liking that. And I think kids, like, maybe there's this thing where you're kind of thinking, well, kids don't even got a life yet. They're kids. What do they need coaching for? But no, they really could use some good coaching. And then if you're doing it well, there's a series of coaches they have, right? It's like us. You need a mentor for everything if you're really doing life well, to me. Like, there's not one mentor that's going to be the answer for your growth as an adult. So you need a cooking mentor. You need a financial mentor. You need a career mentor. You could use a good family mentor, maybe a marriage mentor. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
right?
as a kid, that's basically how their lives are lined up in a lot of ways. If they're in activities and stuff, they've got leaders in all these spaces, and they're teachers and aunts and uncles, and right, it's the village approach very much. So having a coach for a child's life actually makes sense to me. It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's kind of the thought of being more proactive than reactive.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of times we see down the road when they're in their teens or even as an adult, these challenges, struggles, these mindset habits maybe that have become ingrained in them. And man, and then we think, oh, if only we would have handled that when they were 9. Like, what a difference it would have made for their whole life.
That's true.
So that's us.
We'll come back and we can interweave this. Empowered Minds Kids Studio. We can interweave this throughout this episode, but I want to take a quick moment and let y'all go ahead. If people are listening, they're curious. How do they talk to y'all? Who are they reaching out to? Give us the info.
So you can log on to Empowered Minds and find us there on our website, also Facebook and Instagram. You can give us a like. We would really appreciate it on there. Jen and I also will take phone calls. We usually do like an initial phone call just to get to know, the parent and the child really through the parent's perspective. So we really love that personal relationship to see if that's a good fit for your child.
And you can bet that if you email, which we love emails, but I will always reply with, call me old fashioned, but give us a phone call. I'd love to hear your story on the phone so we can connect in that way. I feel like that's much more personable and it just feels nice to be able to hear someone's story from their mouth, right? Like that's just a good experience. So,
all right. So if I'm a parent and I'm listening to this right now, I'm wondering, I don't know if this is for me. So what would you tell someone who's trying to figure out if it's for them?
I think kids life coaching is for all kids, right? And families, as we've discovered. I think right now, Jen and I are mostly seeing a lot of families reaching out because there are some struggles that they see at home. And I think that, we're working with some confidence, we're working with some technology use. But really,
anxiety.
Yeah. Any kid would be a really great fit. There's an assessment that parents will take if they're interested in the individual coaching or the small group coaching. That gives us a really good picture. It goes over a lot of areas that we'll talk about confidence, and it will talk about exercise and healthy eating, really the whole child. And from that information, we kind of develop a program or a tailor-made program for their child. So there could be lots of reasons that there might be a need for individual or group coaching.
All of that, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of times the school year's approaching, right? And so we're starting to see maybe some worry, some anxiety about going back to school. And then a lot of times, we were teachers, right? So we know that teachers and families communicate. And so if families hear that, their child might be having a difficult time with peers at school, or with attention and focus, executive functioning skills like time management, organization, all of those things that are impacting their day at school that also parents might not know how to support their child in that way. That's another great time to reach out and just, we would love to be able to share some tips and strategies and tools. All the things that we do are very hands-on with the child, so we get to really give them tools that they can use in the classroom. We also communicate with the teachers. So if a child's seeing us for coaching, we are communicating with their teacher weekly, letting them know what we're working on in coaching so that everyone is on the same page and kind of working in the kids' direction.
Oh, that's even cooler. So you're willing to partner with the schools and kind of make sure there's this cross communication happening and everybody's informed so you can do the best things.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. And since you are former educators yourselves, y'all speak that lingo.
We do. Right. And that's the thing. Like as a parent, a lot of times you don't know the language. And so we kind of have found that we get to be like the glue that kind of puts everybody together and helps ease the parents' minds about how to approach certain situations. So that has been a beautiful blessing.
Okay. This makes a lot of sense to me. All right, Kosh listeners. All right, you've just learned about Empowered Kids Studio, or Empowered Minds Kids Studio, and we will be talking about this a little bit all throughout this episode, but I think we're ready to ask it. We haven't even jumped into a segment yet. But let me ask my next question. If you weren't doing what you do right now, what would you like to be doing?
Man, like Jen, I always thought that I was going to be a teacher for sure. Now I'm a kids life coach, so that's amazing. If I wasn't doing that, I think that I would love to be a nature photographer. Maybe like National Geographic will hire me or something.
Bruh. Maybe. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. This is a new gig for us, right? So it's kind of like this is the thing that we would choose to be doing. But if we weren't doing this, I think that I would like to do some type of like wellness or like personal training kind of avenue. I love helping people be the best self that they can be. So I also really love exercising and running and doing all that kind of physical stuff. So being able to help people in their physical journey as well.
Y'all ready to jump into the first segment?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, the first segment is called What in the World is Going On With? And that is where you start with the phrase, what in the world? And then you tell us what's on your mind. So, what's on your mind?
What in the world is going on with technology and social media?
Bruh. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere, right? And I think most of us, are on different social media platforms or on screens a lot of the time. And I think it becomes part of our day, right? You're scrolling, you're watching the reels, you're watching the TikToks, you're doing the things. And you get lost and you look up and where has time gone?
Oh, I don't have TikTok for that reason. Like I heard people tell me all the time, you will lose 3 to 4 hours on TikTok. So Timber does not have a TikTok.
Good for you.
I don't TikTok either. Just because I feel like there's enough, right? Like there's enough already. So, right, I don't need one more thing taking my precious time. So
wait, just the way you said that was so old school. I don't be TikToking.
No, I'm TikTok. Yeah, no. So, right, but we just see that, like, I mean, you driving, right? You're driving and people are on their phones. The passenger's always on their phone when you drive by somebody, or the driver's on their phone too. Or you're at a stoplight, phones come out. Pumping gas, phones are out. It's like we have become so attached to our screens. And just how is that impacting our everyday life, our relationships, and we see this, right? Because we're working with kids, right? But like, what are we modeling for our kids? And is that really what we want to be modeling? So.
And are we only sharing? I think we go on social media and you look, and everybody looks like they have it together. Everybody's super happy, and they're at this vacation, or they've done this, or we got this awesome material item, right? And they're only really sharing the highlight reels. But what's the real life? What's going on right behind that screen? I think it would be a beautiful thing for us to be more vulnerable and share real life experiences with one another, because that's how we learn and grow.
And that's how we can relate to others, right? And then we don't feel like we have to do it all and be great at it all, because we can't.
So I'm part of this team called the Chat Team through Theta Care, and this year's project was about youth and social media and connection. And we brought in youth and had conversations with them about it. And the one thing that through these conversations, and we brought in high school students, and really they shared, like, they actually are really mature about their technology, and they understand that, like, how the usage affects things and stuff, and how it's all connected. And they have really good understanding of risk. Like, we actually as parents have less understanding than the youth actually do about this technology most of the time. But what I learned from them is, like, technology has been interwoven into the fabric of how they operate every day, though. Mm-hmm. Right? We necessarily didn't start that way. Right. And so there's things where it's the primary source or way to gather and to get information out, where we didn't necessarily do it that way. And so it's just the changing of the guard. But I was highly impressed with actually how aware they were, and the fact that they don't always want to be connected like that, because of the understanding of the ramifications of things getting to online and being online, and the understanding that it's out there and what it can do, because actually it affects their lives much differently than it might affect one of our lives, because all of their circle is connected, where not necessarily all of our circles are.
That's refreshing to hear.
Oh yeah,
it was refreshing to hear. It's a different perspective.
Yeah, they are aware. They are deep. If they're siblings, they teach their younger siblings often. I'm not saying that bad decisions still aren't made, because of course they're kids, but I mean, they're making kid technology decisions sometimes, but they also are usually well aware of the potential consequences of them. Like, you're not telling them something and they're like, they weren't aware that, like, if I do this and I send this online, this could go really bad. Like, there's the thoughtful risk analysis often that goes into it.
Yeah. I think too, the other piece, maybe with younger kids, is that, like, video game, like, addiction, being addicted to screens. And some kids can absolutely handle it and nothing comes of it. And other kids will spend time on their screens, and you see a different kid when they walk away, right? There's something that got triggered in their brain that gives some kind of emotion response that you're like, how does that work, right? And it's scary sometimes to hear our families talk about how much time kids are spending on screens. And it's not that all screens are bad, right?
No.
But it's how are we managing that for kids who don't know how to do it yet?
Mm-hmm. And that balance, right? Because if they're on a screen all the time, then they're not outside playing. They're not getting that exercise and that activity and that fresh air and that, like, just meet your friends out back and play in the swing set. Like, they're not getting that experience because they're in the house.
Nope, absolutely. And I think a lot prefer that. I think a lot prefer the personal interaction over anything. And one of the things that, that was shared from them is, as much as parents say they want to, they're looking at the kids saying there's less screen time, they're saying their parents pull their devices out at dinner.
Absolutely.
And they're working.
100%.
And they're doing the things. So their modeling is trash.
That's
they're modeling. Their modeling is trash, and then they're looking at them like, you're telling me this, but you're doing this right in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're driving, you're telling me don't text and drive, but you're modeling this right in my face. And it's like, you can't do both.
Nope.
Not with kids.
Nope.
That modeling.
They will call you out every time.
Oh.
They should, right? As they should.
Well, look, they're little U's, so they're not trying to hear that. They're not trying to hear that stuff. They look like you, they act like you, and they not only that, they know how to communicate in a way that pierces straight to you because it is you telling you what you did wrong. I don't know if you had that happen to you yet, but if you get some teens in your life, that
mine are still little, so I haven't had that yet. But sometimes I see like a flash forward of like, ooh, in a few years, this is gonna be something
Coming back to you, girl.
Okay, so my what in the world is going on with the Olympics? Just seriously,
Bruh.
all right, y'all. Now, I'm going to tell you this. First of all, I enjoyed these Olympics. And I don't know how Snoop Dogg got to be the U.S. Olympics mascot because I love me some Snoop. Love me some Snoop. Snoop went out there and handled business. He was a great ambassador for the U.S. Why grandmas love Snoop so much?
He's great.
Like everybody.
Everywhere right now, too.
Well, you know why? Because Snoop cool.
He is so cool.
You know
He's
what?
so cool.
Now, what makes me, Snoop has hit that level like Willie Nelson. Snoop, rules don't apply to Snoop. Snoop get to do Snoop things. Ain't nobody mad at Snoop for doing Snoop things. As a matter of fact, you're kind of disappointed if you ever met Snoop and Snoop wasn't doing Snoop things. You'd be like, is that really Snoop? No, that's Snoop.
Right.
But love Snoop, love Flavor Flav, loved the racing, loved everything about the Olympics, except for two things that I was highly disappointed about the Olympics. One was, when did we as Americans become so self-centered and privileged that we think we can tell another country how to do their opening of the Olympics and what's right and wrong about it? And then we was all wrong about their opening. We got all in our feelings. They got this Last Supper. It wasn't the Last Supper, y'all. You know what that tells me? Quit throwing away books. Teach more history.
But isn't that like kind of like classic U.S.? Like
Yes,
classic
but-
U.S. is getting in other people's business and thinking that we know best for them.
Yeah. And we didn't know. We just didn't know. We didn't know what they was doing. We didn't ask what they was doing. We just made all sorts of assumptions and got all on our soapboxes and decided we was going to tell them how that was wrong and we was going to do this and that. And I was just thinking to myself, y'all out of pocket, U.S. Because that wasn't all of the U.S. that did that. And the U.S. decided that that was going to do that. Y'all out of pocket. Y'all are some judgy folks. Y'all should look at yourselves and say, we're some judgy people and we should probably shut up. I'm just being 100 about that because the world does not revolve around us, especially if there was another host of these great things called the Olympics. Mm-hmm. So that was one thing that I was like, good Lord. Number two, the poor woman who boxed. Now I'm going to stress that again. The poor woman who boxed and how we decided we knew better, that we knew all about her history and her gender and all of that. And we decided we was going to attack this poor woman who's been a woman her whole life. I don't ever understand that. Don't we as people understand that like body chemistry is different for everybody? Like there's things, we're not all the same. We all have different medical conditions and heights, weights, complexions, skin texture, whatever. We're just different. And we somehow can't, when it comes to certain things, we can't just figure it out in our minds that like, we ain't all the same. And that difference doesn't make us bad or something we should be attacking. But once again, us, because I didn't hear this from other countries. I heard this from us.
Right.
We decided we were going to exercise our U.S. privileges and tell people about themselves and ended up looking really bad because we were 1,000% wrong about that situation. All right. Now, my last thing about the Olympics.
Bruh.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having my soapbox moment.
You go.
Is who let that young lady Reagan sit up there and try to get out there and act like she was going to break dance? Don't do that. Don't do that. Now, come on now. It's a new thing. I'm proud that the Olympics decided, let's go on and take something that started in the back alleys of the U.S., in hoods across U.S., where kids was pop locking and breaking out the cardboard box and doing that. You know, I'm not going to lie, I come from the old school myself there. I took a breakdance class back then. I had a pair of parachute pants. If y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't think that I didn't stand in line to see the movie Breaking. You know, Electric Boogaloo, I saw Breaking too, you know, and the Beat Street. Like, I'm old school. Like, I believed in this. I was proud that the Olympics decided that they was going to have this breakdance category. And then we had to have somebody come out there and I don't know what to make of it. Like, because I'm not going to lie, some of it was fun and it is hilarious. But at the end, because they're supposedly not going to have it again, that mockery took away opportunities from others that could have really used that chance and that platform to get out there and let the world, because the Olympics is the world, right? It's not a local event, right, to see things from individuals that you wouldn't normally see. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of the Olympics. There's all these sports that I watched that I would never watch or even know existed, but because it's part of the Olympics, I get to understand. There's people that do this thing and that it's world class and it's experts, and in other countries, this is a big sport or this is an important part of people's culture. But we had to have one person come out there and do kangaroo moves and broken robot spots and hurt my feelings and hurt many, many a person's feelings. Now, I'm not going to lie. Did I giggle about it? Yes. Do I giggle about it now? Yes. But harm was done, and I think we needed to do better. Now, U.S., you don't get to take responsibility for this one because this came from another country. So this soapbox moment is for them. All right. Other than that, I loved the Olympics. Me and my wife had a great time watching all of the different sports and celebrating. And I would talk about one more thing, but I'm going to leave it alone because I don't think it's done yet. But, what I'm going to talk about is the medals inside of the world of gymnastics. But I'm going to let that go for now. All right? So thank you for letting me have my soapbox moment, Kosh listeners. And that is what in the world is going on with. Okay. Hey, Kosh listeners, if you can see this, I can tell you right now. So Mandy and Jen are looking at me. It's like, I didn't see that coming, Timber. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't see that one coming, but they just got a full dose. All right. So are y'all ready to jump into the next segment?
Yeah.
Ready.
All right. Next segment is called 21 Questions. This is where we ask some questions, not necessarily 21 of them, but they are good in-depth questions that might solicit 21 answers. And since we got two of you, we might actually get closer to 21 answers than normal. All right. Ready for the first question? And I am asking this to both of y'all, so there will be no together answers because I need answers from both of you. First question. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my family and my support system of friends and business partners.
And I was going to try to beat you to it. I'm so grateful for my family. Also, the support, like this past year has been a really, really big leap, a big experience, right? Like starting a new business, becoming certified. Obviously, we needed our support system big time, and they showed up 100%. So grateful.
What motivates you?
Seeing the positive shifts in the people around me, whether that's the families I'm coaching, whether that's my friends, my family, myself. So just like it motivates me to keep shining my light.
I'd say living my purpose. I've taken quite a road to find this purpose, and I think that just living out that passion and shining my light and helping others to find theirs and live theirs in their own true, authentic way is what motivates me.
Also chocolate.
Bruh. That there was facts. Big facts. All right, I felt that. What grounds you?
Being in nature. You know, I shared that I'm a Youper, right? So I grew up in the country. And so when I need a moment of grounding, I need to be in nature. So specifically, it's really great if I can go back up to the UP on the river, just being able to like be calm and peaceful and just have that grounding time. It's just so important.
I agree. I also would say prayer, music, and mindfulness. I am like a in my car in the driveway, jamming out kind of girl. I love that opportunity when I'm not with my kids to like listen and sing without them being like, Mom, stop that. So I don't know. There's so much, all kinds of music, all kinds to release those emotions. I love it.
What does success look like to you?
I think that can look different. Success looks different from moment to moment or from day to day. I'm a big believer in leaning into joy because no matter how small that joy is, if you lean into that in the challenging moments, I think it hurdles you in a forward direction and gives us some courage and the ability to love ourselves more. And I think to give others grace, which I think going back to your Olympics, right? Like we need to offer some grace to some people.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. What she said. Absolutely. So also it's knowing that like I didn't hold back on anything that I wanted or that I dreamed of, knowing that, I didn't sell myself short, that if I had a big dream, that I went for it. So success is knowing that I pursue the things that I feel passionate about, that I'm a great role model for my kids. So if they can look up to me and know that I'm maybe doing the hard things sometimes, or that I'm like continuing to try to be better, that's success for me.
You go, girl.
What irritates you?
Loud chewing.
Smacking, chewing soup. Who chews soup?
Bruh.
Mm-hmm. Who chews yogurt? Ugh.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Loud chewing, gum smacking, or even like loud talking on your speakerphone.
Yes.
In public.
Amen.
I don't want to hear your conversation at the grocery store.
No.
That irritates me.
But the smacking and the chewing is definitely for me number one. Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you start smacking that, chewing that.
Can you slurp?
Ooh.
Or does that fall in the same category? I'm just curious.
I would rather. I just think
slurping's better than the chewing.
Like you're having tomato soup, right? And then you just you hear the why? What are you chewing? What is in there? Clearly it's a pet peeve.
That is a big pet peeve for me too. When we didn't know that we had these pet peeves separately, and then it came out, and I was like, oh my God, me too. So now we're really conscious about it when we eat lunch together.
Oh, wow. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And fantastic in a lot of ways. What scares you?
Yeah. Death of the people that I love. And I truly know that that's the circle of life, and I know that that is how it goes. I just don't know how you prepare your heart for that. We, my family and I celebrated a family friend yesterday at a celebration of life, and it was just beautiful. But it is so hard to lose those memories, I guess, even though I guess you carry them with you, but it's hard. It's definitely something that scares me because, it's the unknown. It's kind of like this business adventure too. It's the unknown. I don't do well with not knowing the path.
Yeah, that also. She's got all the good answers. Not a whole lot scares me, truthfully. Like I'm not a real timid or scared individual, but losing the ones that I love would be my biggest fear. You can't prepare yourself for that mentally, so that would be it.
What recharges your soul?
For me, time with those that I love. I don't know. It's like filling your bucket back up, right? Sometimes you don't even need it, but then you get together with, your family or your friends and you spend quality time together and you just leave feeling better. I would also say nature, which we talked about. Mm-hmm. There's just something magical being by the water or taking a hike through the woods. It just makes me be able to like take a breath and really feel like I'm breathing normally without having to like think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I said this before, nature for sure is what grounds me and recharges me. Time with my family, hugs with my kids, connecting with others, right? And just being able to have like those people who just like fill you right back up. That they're that positive energy that you just want to be around. That recharges my soul. Also exercising. Like I start my day every day with a good endorphin rush, right? So like that helps keep me going for the rest of the day. If I skip out on a workout, I feel it the rest of the day.
How do you define love?
This was the hardest one for me. I think love is giving of yourself freely, and the hard part is allowing yourself to be loved in return.
Yeah, that. This one wasn't hard for me, actually. When I thought about it, I'm like, what is love? And like immediately I was like, love is unconditional, right? That's what we want. We hope that it will be. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes it is not, but that's what I hope love to be. It's unconditional.
What is the most memorable life lesson you learned from a parent, a guardian, or a mentor?
For me, it would be resilience and giving of yourself freely to others, which I kind of goes back to that love question. Both of my parents grew up in abusive home situations, and watching them not follow that generational trauma, not follow that path of what they were shown and how they raised was just kind of beautiful to witness as I was growing up, and now reflecting on how they raised my sister and I in the most loving and compassionate and amazing home that I could ask for, I think has been the biggest life lesson. And I hope to do well by my kids always by modeling the hard and the good so that they can take that and use that as they grow through their life journey.
I guess the biggest like lesson I would take away from my parents was just to pursue my dreams, no matter how big or bold or wild or crazy. They never put limitations on me, and so that has shaped who I am today. They have in this journey, they've been my biggest cheerleaders and supporters by my side, helping in any capacity that they possibly can. And like Mandy, I hope that when my kids are grown and they, look at me as a mom, that they take some of those things away as well, because it's important.
Okay, here goes the real question of 21 questions. What would your walkout song be?
I'm gonna go first.
You're going.
Yeah. So when I heard this, I was like, my walkout song would be DJ Unk, "Walk It Out," all day. Like that was my song.
Bruh. I'm feeling that.
Yeah, that's my song. Any day. I need a little pep, get me up. That's my song. But if it was like I needed a, song that maybe all would gather around or would get on with, like my TED Talk, like when I'm walking out into the TED Talk stage, that would be "Brave" by Sarah Bareilles.
I'm sad that it just still wasn't DJ.
Maybe it would be.
I feel like it
probably would be, to be honest. It probably would be.
When push come to shove, I think you would probably choose that.
Walk It Out.
I couldn't come up with one, but I did like the idea for the TED Talk. So I'm a big Lauren Daigle fan. And so one of my favorites is "Trust in You," because it's a beautiful message about just trusting in God, trusting in your purpose, and really leaning into that. So I would go with that. But I also really love Pink. So maybe I'd go with some, like, I don't know what, anything Pink.
Mm-hmm. Can't go wrong with Pink.
No,
you can't go wrong with Pink. She's actually on my list of concerts I need to see in my lifetime.
Oh, I got to see her.
See?
Milwaukee.
Was she amazing?
So amazing. Best concert ever.
All right. Well, what I've learned in this is, Jen, you surprised me with your walkout song, but I love it. And Mandy, we need to work. We need to work on it.
I love all music, so it's hard to pinpoint it. I'll work on it for you.
I'm just saying, you don't never know, because it's happened to me. It's happened to me.
You don't know when you're going to be walking out?
Well, no, that I've had an event where I was offered to be a keynote, and they were like, "What do you want your walkout song to be?" And I was like, "Oh, what? I get one?"
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so you got.
I got to get prepared. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Because, as this grows,
Thanks for planting that seed.
I'm
gonna work on that.
Somebody's going to ask.
What are we going to listen to on the way home, Jen?
Walk it out.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. Okay. Next. Oh, well, let me just say this. You have survived 21 questions. Okay. Next segment. The next segment is called Word Association, and this is where I say a word and you tell us what comes to your mind. And there's one thing about word association. We have a tradition here on the Kosh. We start with the same word every time. It is the word of happiness. It is the word of unity. It is a word that makes you feel good. It is the word that even when you say it, you can't help but to smirk or smile. And that word is food. Let's go.
Mashed potatoes, mom's only, no boxed fake stuff.
Comfort. Food is comfort. Like all food.
Now, you're going to have to tell me more about these mashed potatoes of mom's.
Yeah.
So homemade.
Homemade. They're creamy, but I also like just a little bit of lumps. Not like gigantic lumps, but just the right amount.
So some texture.
Little texture.
You need a little texture. Okay, that's baller.
And her gravy is the best too. I don't know if gravy can go with the mashed potatoes, but that's definitely, she makes homemade gravy, and my dad tells her it's drinkable gravy. Like he could just drink it without the mashed potatoes.
All right, so let me ask this. If you have the family gathering where it is a family potluck, what do they ask you to bring?
Some kind of punch with alcohol in it, probably.
That's great. I make a mean deviled egg.
You do?
Yeah.
I love those.
I love deviled eggs.
Okay.
I'm like jazz them up all the time. So it's like an appetizer. But so my family is vegetarian, right?
Okay.
So like we have, and not newly vegetarian, but we've been exploring like a lot of different recipes. So we make jackfruit.
Ooh.
Jackfruit, like barbecue jackfruit sliders, and they are so good. Oh, they're so good. It's like comfort, but also like good for you.
I've had situations with jackfruit. We ain't friends.
Oh,
I've had situations. I like that.
Situations with jackfruit, particularly
I'm sorry for that.
particularly jackfruit candy.
oh,
Particularly jackfruit candy from the Hmong market, and
I don't know that.
Oh yeah, it's because it's part of their culture, and so but I'll try anything, and 99% of the time, most things are either pretty good, tolerable, but jackfruit had this thing where it's not horrible, but to me it has an aftertaste that you can't get rid of.
What kind of jackfruit did you have?
It's candy. It was candy.
I don't know what that is.
Well, see, maybe I need fresh jackfruit.
You need to try my jackfruit barbecue sliders.
Okay, well, now you've got me intrigued. And I'm willing. I'm not like getting rid of jackfruit out of my life as a whole, but I'm open to, and you had me at sliders.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
We made them for a party, and we had like pork sliders next to the jackfruit ones. Jackfruit ones were gone.
Oh,
Pork
wow.
ones were still, like, people didn't even know the difference, but then they had the jackfruit, they're like, ooh, this.
That was fire, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Telling you.
Sounds good.
Well, I think like anything, if you know what you're doing, you make some things taste good. Okay. Cocktail or beer?
Wine, please.
Both.
We got a favorite wine?
Depends on the season.
Do we have a favorite place to go have wine?
Oh, great question. Well, okay.
If you
I
tell
don't.
me out on the corner with a brown paper bag, I'm gonna talk about you.
No, I would say like on a patio with friends, right? It doesn't matter whose patio, doesn't matter whose deck, but gathered around with friends.
Yes.
Socializing.
And I was teasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say anywhere. I mean, there's so many good places. I have really been in love with Fifth Ward lately here in Oshkosh. So
Yes.
I love all the sours. So
Yeah, I love their fruit nannies.
so good.
All right, big shout out to Fifth Ward. They do amazing things. Shop local.
Small businesses. I think Jen and I know that having our own now, We deeply understand the heart and the passion that goes into it. I love here in Oshkosh, Osh Pop is probably like one of my favorites. And Market Boutique on Main, love that place too.
Yeah, as far as like restaurants, even I'm a big foodie, right? I love like good restaurants. So we love going to Town Council in Neenah and Field and Fire that's in Greenville. Those are our like favorites.
Concert.
Joy, I would say. I love the energy and music, and I love people watching at concert. I love people watching anywhere, but people watching at concerts is amazing.
Yeah, you'd be like watching me at the concert because I'd be
100%.
dancing.
I watch
my
you in the
heart
car.
Out. Yeah, energy, right? Like I went to a Lil Wayne concert at Summerfest like last year, and then again I saw him at the Sylvie in Madison, and the energy,
Bruh.
it was amazing. He is just phenomenal. I was just fangirl. It was great. So much dancing.
All right, Jen, I'm learning a little something about you. You're a hip hop head. There's a running theme.
There is.
There's a running theme.
There is.
Okay. Streaming.
I don't really watch a lot of TV, but when I do, I tend to get hooked on it, and then I have to like watch all the episodes. I loved Ted Lasso so much.
Same.
I love Ted Lasso, and I actually have watched it like probably 4 or 5 times, a lot of times. Currently, my husband and I are watching Alone, where they drop the people off in nature and they have to, survive on their own without any tools or.
Yeah, honestly, there has been no time for streaming. But I did just find out that Emily in Paris on Netflix was like season 4 just came out. And so I did just binge like 4, they're like 30-minute episodes, which are my favorite. I don't like long ones. I don't have time for that. So give me a good 30-minute one and we're good. So that's good.
What's Emily in Paris about?
This girl from Chicago that goes to Paris for like a job, fashion job, and her story, her life, like all the drama and all the fun. And it's just like very light, like you can fold laundry to it and not really have to like pay attention. One of those. The characters are great. It's very engaging.
Entrepreneurship.
I'm back to Leap with that. Knowing what you're meant for, going after it, even when it scares the heck out of you, because yeah, it's scary, but it has been absolutely worth it. And I cannot wait to see where this goes.
Mandy and I say every day, it's exhilarating and exhausting all at the same time. It's like a beautiful little mix.
All right. Last word. Diversity.
Respecting and accepting one another and our experience, being open to growth for me and myself as I meet people from all cultures and walks of life. I think there are so many stories that are told and so many that are not told, but just being open and respecting and accepting everybody's story.
I love that. The story part, right? Like everyone has a story and not judging it and just accepting and respecting that story and hearing it, being open.
Y'all really are in sync.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I see it. Bruh. Okay. Well.
My kids are going to love that, by the way. Just, bruh.
It's all purpose. It states all the things that need to be stated. Okay. We have completed word association. Okay. And at this moment, I'm going to take a quick moment and I'm going to definitely say that, this episode is sponsored by Sunken Paddle Cider Works, making the best of it. That is our joint. If you have not had some Sunken Paddle cider yet, y'all missing out. Now, you two, have you had an opportunity to have any Sunken Paddle cider?
Not yet.
No, but now we need to.
You not only do you need to, but there's this great opportunity every Saturday. It's located in Oshkosh on 17th Street. And you can go there from 12 to 5 and sample everything for free. And it's a good sample. It's a quality sample. And we're not talking about 1 or 2. We're talking about a good, usually somewhere between, and forgive me, fellas, forgive me, Spencer and Doug, but it's somewhere usually between, I want to say 14 to 16 different ciders that they have on tap.
Jen, what are we doing next week?
I know. I was going to say that should be our team meeting on Saturday.
And then I'm going to suggest that there's one in particular that we have partnered on called the Kosh.
I did see
Exciting.
That is right. It is a habanero and blackberry cider that you have no idea. It is about that life.
That sounds delicious.
It doesn't just sound delicious. It is delicious. I'm just going to call it out right now.
Bruh.
Facts. All right. So, Kosh listeners out there, if you haven't gone to go see Doug and Spencer out there at Sunken Paddle, y'all need to go check them out for real and go pick up a couple of bottles of Sunken Paddle cider. There's some pretty good, amazing ones out there. I'm going to suggest checking out their heirloom with all of the different apples. And the really cool thing about the experience is they're just not letting you taste it. They're giving you the history of it and where they got these different apples or whatever went into that particular cider. And most of it is local. So they're partnered with all of these local farmers or people who have these different fruit trees on their properties. And they'll give you the whole story about where they got it from and how it came to be. And to me, that always just makes my cider taste just a little bit better. I'm just saying. Okay, ready for the next segment. And that next segment is called the Kosh Hidden Gem. This is your opportunity to share a hidden gem with the Kosh listeners. Now, a hidden gem can be, it does not have to be in Oshkosh. It can be in the entire region or anywhere in the nation or wherever it is. But a hidden gem is usually something that maybe a lot of people know about, but maybe there's some details they don't know about it that make it really cool. Or maybe it's something you don't think a lot of people know about. So, what is your hidden gem?
It's not really a hidden gem, but I love it, and it's part of my childhood. So, Oaks candy. I love Oaks candy.
Bruh.
You are a Kosh.
Dark chocolate meltaways. So good. And I don't really know. I think they're called oysters. The nuts on the outside, and then there's like dark chocolate and white vanilla on the inside. So good.
Oh, yeah. Look, I'm going to tell you right now.
I don't know Oaks candy, and now I need to.
Yeah, we should make it run. They're not open on Sundays.
Oaks candy is super Kosh.
Oh.
I mean,
and not only that, the funny thing is there's 2 candy places in Oshkosh. And so, like, if you are truly Kosh, you're choosing one of the families. You are either Hughes chocolate or you are Oaks.
also, I don't say no to Hughes chocolate. I just grew up on Oaks, and I choose it. I mean, also, I love the meltaways from Hughes too, but I'm an Oaks girl when it comes down to it.
My wife is an Oaks girl, and that is how she gets down.
Good to know.
Oh, Jen, I'm looking at your face, and you're like, "Why has this been a secret to me?
Yeah, for real.
Who's been? Why have you not shared this earlier?"
Why is that not filled up our candy jar?
Because we're trying to be healthy.
Right. Facts there.
All right, secret, your hidden gem.
I don't know. I don't know. Can I pass? I'm not sure.
I think you're trying to hold out on us. Are you holding out on gems?
No.
There is something.
I'm sure there is. I'm drawing a
there's
blank right
something
now, though.
You love a favorite place.
Could be a park. You go to a lot of parks, do a lot of hiking things.
Oh, we have I can't even say the name of the Wagawea Trail.
The Wheel Wash.
Yeah, the Weeawash Trail
one.
comes up often as a hidden gem.
Yeah, you
'cause
know what?
people
That,
love
when you
that.
said nature trail, that's like popped in my head. Actually, was that the Wheel? I think that's how you say it. The Weeawash Trail. We started. I mean, I think it goes for like miles, right? But we start at in Hortonville, and that's a nice nature trail that we like to take the kids on and the dog and just spend some time in nature. So yeah, that would be my hidden gem.
Okay. So, at this time, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Did you know there are children in the Fox Valley in need of hearing aids, but their parents struggle to provide them because of lack of insurance or high copays? I am Juliette Sturkins, audiologist and board member of Here in the Fox Cities, and proud that this small local nonprofit organization has helped fund hearing aids for some 30 kids. Your donation would help more children here. Visit hereinthefoxcities.org to learn more and to see their smiles. Every child deserves to hear.
Okay, Kosh listeners, we are back. And what I'm going to say is, just so you know, we've been playing that same commercial here for literally years now. I think it's been 2 years. And what we do is we offer free commercials for nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit out there and you would like a commercial, please give us a call here at the Kosh, or reach out to us at email at askthekosh@gmail.com. And we can talk about the possibility of producing a commercial here for you on the show. Otherwise, if you are a business or an organization out there who has interest in putting a commercial here on the Kosh, because we have just recorded, matter of fact, I recorded 5 new commercials last night, and there will be new commercials coming here on the Kosh. Please feel free to reach out to us. I promise you, we are way more reasonable than you probably could ever expect, and we record everything right here in Kosh Studios, and it's a simple process. We find a beat, and you voice over it. It is not that deep. But it comes out pretty awesome. So you just let us know. I promise you, the Kosh has a very unique audience of individuals out here listening to us, and you could find it very beneficial to your organization or to your business if you were to put an ad here on the Kosh. All right, now it is time for what is my favorite segment of the Kosh. And that is this. It is story time. It is an opportunity for our guests to do one thing. Tell us a story. And that story can be about absolutely anything. So, Mandy, Jen, what's our story?
Okay, I'll go first.
Please.
Okay. So having had off the many last summers of my life, it's such a soul refreshing time, and spending time with my kids in the summer is my absolute favorite thing to do, because I would leave teacher mode, full on mom mode. And so we have started something that we call OMG Adventures. So my daughter's name is Olivia, M is for mom, and G is for my son Gabe. And we just go on little mini adventures. It might be a nature hike, or it might be going to get ice cream at Leon's, or maybe it is going to EAA, or going and traveling maybe to the zoo. And just little moments like that building up, I think, over time. It doesn't have, I think something for people to know is like the things that you do with your kids don't have to be extravagant. They don't have to be big, but taking the time and spending the time is so important. And they always look forward to it. I think maybe I look forward to it a little bit more than they do. But it's really good time together. And I think even going back to my childhood, my mom and dad, they would put us in the car and they would not tell us where we were going, but mom would have a picnic lunch packed and we would explore different parks and do things like that. Or my dad would take us into the gas station and let us pick out, the crazy little candies that came in different shapes. Or I remember like the Halloween, there was the coffin with the little skeleton sweet tart pieces in it.
Oh, I remember those. Those are fire.
So I think, I don't know, I love spending time with my family no matter what we do. I mean, we've instilled some family game nights, which is really fun, but just having that time together is amazing and kind of gets you through the rest of the week.
I love that. I love hearing about your OMG adventures too. They're always good. Story time. Well, I was going to share a story from a family that started coaching with us, and her story with us was just beautiful. Her son is 14 now. So, some habits and patterns have been kind of set in stone and kind of ingrained in him. And she kind of reached out to us as like a last effort of how can I help my child? Like, we're really struggling. And she sent a picture one day, and it was like on their first session, we give them like a little plant that they like plant the seed, and then they water it, they nurture it. Like it's kind of related to like you're planting seeds in yourself and like you're helping your own growth. And it was a picture of this pot, and it was just like dried up dirt. And then the next picture she sent was like, there was like a little bit of like a green sprout coming up. And she said how that plant resembled or like represented her journey as a parent, of how, like she put so much time and effort into being like the best mom and like doing all the things when her son was really little. And then life happens, right? And we get distracted and we have like all the things happening, right? That we sometimes can't put all of our focus and attention into our kids all the time. And something went off tracks along the way. And she said how like starting this coaching process with him like helped her see, it brought back a lot of things in her mind of like what she needed to be doing with her son, and how she saw the little sprout of green and it was like that renewed hope. She was like, and I just wanted to like dig that dirt up and like show more of that, like that green plant that's coming up. She's like, but I know that that's like her son. Like she can't rush the process. It has to be his doing, and he needs to take that on now. And she just kind of has to let it happen naturally. And that was such a beautiful story. And it just also like filled my heart, like knowing like, like the little shifts that we are doing are making a tremendous impact on the families that we're working with. So.
See, and you thought you weren't gonna have a story. What is that nonsense? Not on the Kosh.
Yeah,
you
flows.
You gotta come with a story. Well, Kosh listeners, you know what's about to go down. Every single time it makes me happy. But you know that when you hear that, it is time for the topic of the week. And the topic of the week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time. And guess what? This week is no different. So, Mandy, Jen, what's our topic of the week?
What has happened to childhood?
Ooh.
Bruh.
Let's break it down.
Lots of overscheduling. Where's the quality family time? We talked a little bit already about that, screen addicted habits, lack of free time exploring in nature, and that physical exercise. I'm not sure where the breakdown has occurred, but their childhood is definitely different than when Jen and I grew up. I remember spending a lot of time outside and being creative and having opportunities to problem solve. And I wonder, and I noticed as a classroom teacher, kids are doing less of that problem solving and they're doing less of that free play, and they're wanting it to be more directed because they don't know how to have that free play.
Right, the imagination. Like, use your imagination. What is that? Like, how do I do that? Can you tell me how to do that? Nope. Like that's up to you to decide. So that has definitely been seen for sure. Right. We're seeing so many extreme behavior issues and problems and challenges with kids. And oftentimes the question is like, well, what's wrong with kids these days?
Well,
But
yeah, we can never blame kids.
no,
They're not the
absolutely
problem.
Not. They're not the problem.
Right,
The question needs to be different.
Right, because whatever behaviors they have are learned behaviors or guided behaviors, right? So my question is, what's changed about parents? Because that's really the real question, right? Everybody wants to say kids have changed, but kids respond to parents. So what's changed about
our society
parents?
as a whole, though, too, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that's
Right.
what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
where I'm going with it as a whole is like, I don't know how y'all grew up, but I grew up where your mom woke up and was basically like, get out the house.
Absolutely, don't come back in until I call you in for lunch.
Yeah, I don't want to see you until it was time to eat. When I yell for you, you better show up, and when the lights come on, you better come running in the screen door. All right, and I don't have parents lost trust in their neighborhoods and society that they don't send their kids out with that type of freedom
I think there's that.
into those scenarios. Like, is there such worry? Are we overinformed? Are we overinformed where now we know so much and feel like we have so much more to worry about
So much to be afraid.
or choose to?
Right.
Is there
Right.
more stuff to be afraid of, or are we choosing to be?
Right.
Were those same things still around when I was a kid? And why was there more trust then than now?
Well, and I also think that we're much more like individualistic right now, right? Like when we were growing up, there was like that community feel, right? Like your neighbors were watching out for you, or like you let the kids go out to play, but like I knew that if I did anything in my neighborhood, my mom was going to hear about it before I even got back home, because all the neighbors were like a unit. And I wonder if that is so much of a thing anymore, or if everyone's kind of like in their own little, like you said before, silo, or like your own bubble, and you're kind of not looking out for one another as much anymore. And for sure, this is not like a blanket statement. Like I'm sure there's definitely still neighborhoods. Like my neighborhood that we live in is amazing. But I also think that we've kind of cultivated that, right? Like we actively engage with our neighbors and have, community or like neighborhood things so that we can stay connected with each other's families and kids. So I wonder if that is not as much of a emphasis anymore. And then we feel like we don't trust that our kids can fill their time on their own. So we fill their time for them by scheduling their days, because we don't want them to be bored or like, start fighting at home or whatever it is. So I think that there's that overscheduling piece of it. So then there's no freedom to free play or use your imagination, because your day has been filled with structured activities.
We've had kids too tell us in our coaching sessions that like it's too much for them, like all of these practices, all of these games, and they want to play that sport, but they don't know how to tell mom and dad that it's too much, and some days it's overwhelming. And I also think as a society we've gone to like, yes, your 8-year-old is going to practice 3 days a week and play every weekend for how many months, right? And it's not negotiable. That was not a thing when I was growing up. Did I play sports? Absolutely. Was I practicing every night? No. So I think that overscheduling piece, going back to what you said about maybe we have too much information, that's a really valid point, right? Because our parents didn't have all those sources of information. And so while they worried about us, it probably has definitely intensified with all of the streaming and all of the ways that we can get our information, and because we choose to worry about it.
Well, my thought process is, like, here's the thing. When I was a kid, I played sports every day. It was called kickball in the alley.
Absolutely.
And everything didn't have a means to the end, right? So it wasn't like I had to be in this organized sport where I was trying to potentially get myself a college scholarship starting at 8 and right. Or any of that stuff. I literally just went out and played with all the people in the alley, and we would all meet in the alley and play kick the can or basketball on who's ever hoop, or hop some fences and steal some crab apples. I mean, we were doing all the things.
But also, like in that experience, then, like, there wasn't an adult's hand in it, right? It was just like the kids got together, they problem solved, they figure out what we're going to play today, how are we going to play it, what are the rules? Okay, let's do this. Like you didn't have like an adult overseeing it,
no,
and then like
not at all.
Also micromanaging how the problem solving happened, and like I feel like that is what is happening most times now.
100%
So,
guilty of that as like a first-time mom. Like absolutely was very much a helicopter mom. Like checking on the children all the time, no matter where they were, right? Information.
Yeah. But also then we're like kind of sending the message in a kind of not an obvious way, but like sending the message to our kids that we don't trust them to be able to do these things on their own, that we have to plan and organize and orchestrate it for them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And like we see so much anxiety in kids, and we're like, oh, why are kids so anxious? What are they anxious about? Like, but if we think parents are anxious, right? Like everyone's got this like to-do list and this I got to be here and I got to do there, and I'm so busy. You see anybody, you connect with anybody, like, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. And so if we're so busy, obviously that is translating to our kids, and they feel that, and now they are feeling anxious.
Well, how many people make themselves busy because of their kids?
Absolutely.
right? Because they're
Right.
I'm got to run them there, and they're in dance, and they got to go do this thing and that
But
thing.
then who chose to sign them up for those things?
And then you don't have time for the family dinners or family meals, or you're saying some of us are going to eat at this time and some of us are going to eat here, but you're not together having that authentic, genuine like conversation.
And connecting.
But
And like, we are not judging at all, because like we get it, right? Like parenting is the
Happens.
hardest thing in the world.
Well, there's not a wrong or a right way to do it.
No.
So we're definitely not judging, because the
No.
people that do that, they're amazing parents too.
Absolutely.
100%. It's just, as a society, there's this shift that has happened.
And how do we get back to some of those good things and still do the things that we want to do for our kids and that our kids desire to do?
Now, also, let me just throw another wrinkle in here, because I think I'm just throwing all sorts of stuff at y'all.
Bring it on.
How much is the influence of some of this stuff also the influence of others as far as parents or kids? Because, all right, kids want to do what other kids do, right? So if their friend is doing that activity, then I may not have wanted to do that activity, but I want to kick it with my friend, so I'll do it. Why not? I'll join this, or I'll do that. And so now I do want to do it. But maybe I didn't want to do it before, but I want to hang out with my group of people that I really like a lot, and so therefore I want to do that. Or how often is it parents are looking at other parents and thinking, because, I mean, let's be honest, has parenting gotten competitive? Where people are looking at each other and saying, oh man, I want my kid to have all those possibilities, or I don't want them to have a leg up, or I want them to have that opportunity when they get ready to go to college or something like that. And so therefore I'm going to put my kid in this or do that, or you've got to be part of this and you've got to be part of that.
I think both things. I think speaking to the first part, you talked about, like maybe doing it because a friend is doing it, kind of made me think about some situations of kiddos who are, wanting to be popular, wanting to be the cool kid with their buddy also, and deciding to do something that maybe they wouldn't decide on their own, which I think is something that speaks to, the work that we do, trying to build that confidence in kids to be your own self and walk that proudly. And the people that are meant for your circle are going to love you for you, not who you're trying to be for someone else. Like, I feel that is right now such a critical time, even in my own kids' lives, right? They're 9 and 13, and, definitely seeing some of that, like, who am I, and am I going to stand in my own space?
Yes. Ooh, yes. Right?
Hey, look, you can look at me, but I'm going to tell you right now, my daughter is grown. I am in the space that y'all wish to be. It's called empty nesting. She is a grown woman. Now, that being said, I am very much still dad, and she is very much still my baby. My baby does talk to me. So, I mean, you never stop being a parent, but what y'all doing, this is, yeah, that's different.
We're in the thick of it.
Yeah. Y'all in the thick of it.
Absolutely.
What do you think people or parents right now don't have a good understanding of our societal environment right now for kids? What do you think they might be missing, or that they don't have a full understanding of? Or let me ask this. What do you think parents might not have an understanding about their kids, right? Because I think y'all are in a unique scenario where you get to talk to kids and actually hear what they have to say. And parents may talk to their kids, but they may not be talking to their kids. So there's all sorts of stuff that they may be missing, or they don't actually understand. Like, how many kids actually tell their parents how they actually feel?
Yeah.
So what are you hearing that a parents might need to be more aware of about how kids today feel?
I do think parents, they have within them what they need. It's, are they tapping into that? I mean, none of us are perfect. I mess up all the time. I share my stories with Jen, and I know she shares hers with me as well. And I think parents are absolutely walking with the best intentions for their kids. I think a place that there is to grow for parents is communication. Just as you talked about, that communication piece, being intentional about what you're asking and when you're asking it. For my own kids, if there's a situation that arises, and let's say there's a meltdown about something, right? For me to immediately go in and start that conversation and try to repair and fix in that moment where I'm maybe not regulated and they're not regulated is not helpful. And so thinking about taking a step back for yourself as a parent, getting yourself into a calm space, and waiting for your child, right? Noticing their clues. When are they ready? Not to badger, not to, be on top of them. We know you want to fix it. I am the same exact way, right? I want to fix it, and I want to fix it immediately because we don't want our kids to be uncomfortable. We don't want to feel uncomfortable. It's not a great feeling, right? So I would say communication and waiting, just taking a step back. And that is so hard for us to stop in that moment and get ourselves regulated and waiting for them to also be regulated.
I also was going to say communication as well. Like when you were saying about how often do kids really, truly share their thoughts and feelings with their parents? And I think part of that might be, if parents were able to model in the moment their humanness to kids, right? Like we mess up all the time, and it's okay to say like, whew, I messed up on that one. I really shouldn't have said that to you. Like, that's my bad. That mama is growing also. And I tell my kids all the time, like I pick a mantra in the morning, and it is, sometimes I am calm but firm. And so I say that to my kids all day. Like, this is a moment where I am feeling really, really frustrated, but I'm going to say, I am calm but firm. And I'm going to say it over and over again until I am calm and firm. And they,
Bruh.
but I think by modeling that, they hear me saying it. They hear that that's like the voice in my head, right? That's my internal dialogue. And that I'm teaching them that, but I'm also being really real with them that this is not easy and I don't know it and I'm working through it. So that teaches them that they are continually growing and trying, and that they don't have to be perfect. They can share the things with me. And so that would be my hope for families, is to be able to have that open communication where there's not so much of like I'm the mom or I'm the dad.
And that's
you should
why.
listen to me because this is my role. But like we're just in this family trying to figure it all out all together, and let's work together. Let's be a team more. I think would maybe help open the lines of communication a little bit more, so that kids can openly share their thoughts and feelings with their parents.
I love that modeling piece, Jen, too. I think it's so important. Like, you're modeling so many things. You're modeling how you're taking care of yourself. You're modeling naming your emotion when you say, like, I'm feeling frustrated. And you might even say, I notice I'm feeling frustrated because my eyebrows look like this.
My fists are clenched.
Right. But you're showing them what it looks like, what it feels like. You're walking them through it, and you're like, hey, it's me. I'm a human just like you. We all struggle. Just because I'm the mom doesn't mean that I'm right all the time.
Yeah, and also like really trying to not place your feelings on the child, right? Like, I am frustrated, but I'm not going to say I'm frustrated because you are like irritating me right now and you're not listening to me. Like, I'm not going to put it on them, right? Because they're kids. They're just trying to figure it out. Like, they're learning, right? We are their coaches. We coach them on how to do life. So owning that, like, I'm feeling frustrated right now, and so I'm not going to put it on them, but kind of trying to work through that.
What do you think is one of the biggest myths or misunderstandings right now that parents have about parenting and children?
That there's one right way to
I
do
was going
it.
to say that there's a right or wrong way.
There's not. There's no book, right? Every kid is different. Every human is different. So the way that we approach each kid, I mean, even looking at my own kids, right? I don't parent the same way, right? Basic values, but each kid needs something a little bit different, and I might have to go about it in a different way because of who they are and how they're growing up.
Mm-hmm. And also not comparing with your neighbor, with your friend. Like your story, your situation, your family is unique to you, and so own that and be okay with that. Your kids are uniquely themselves. So oftentimes parents share stories about their kids and they try to like maybe not one up, but like, oh, I'm not gonna share that, like I lost my cool because that shows that like I don't have it together all the time. It's okay to be real, right? It's okay to be real with your friends. Like you should be able to share those things with if they're your friends, right?
Friends, yeah.
So not always trying to pretend like you have it all together. We don't have to have it all together all the time.
Okay. What is the last thing you would like to share with the Kosh listeners about this particular topic of the week? Let me ask that again. Is there anything that you would like to share with our Kosh listeners that to help wrap up this topic of the week?
I think listening to your kids, communicating with them, asking them, one of the tips that I gave one of my coaching families is to have a family meeting, right? And talk about, are you okay with this many practices? Are you okay with doing this? Checking in and asking them. I think we assume once we've signed them up, like, yeah, that's what they want. Yep, that's, what they love. So now we're all fine. But checking in and talking about the feelings, talking about the emotions, so they know it's okay to come to you and have a conversation. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I agree. The family meetings are a beautiful thing, right? And not having it be a place where you just are airing your grievances with each other, but also
Right.
like celebrating one another. Like, oh man, I noticed you have been trying really hard to master, whatever it is. And like, look at what you're doing. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like noticing things that maybe, or like making a time to share those noticings. We don't usually.
To share your gratitude too about what are you thankful for today? Who are you thankful for today? How did you help someone today? Just very non-threatening, but like open questions instead of everybody just sitting on their phones or just quick eat and out the door you go. Like really taking that time to grow together as a family, right?
Mm-hmm. Amen. Yeah.
Can we take another moment here and re-share with the Kosh listeners the contact information for Empowered Minds Kids Studios?
Yeah. So you can just go to www.empoweredmindskidstudio.com. And that's our website. And we have a little contact us at the bottom. You can shoot us a message and then we can connect through email. It has our phone number listed. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Empowered Minds Kids Studio. We put a lot of hot tips out there on Facebook of just things, ideas, suggestions as families or for kids. We also share videos or reels of what we do in our coaching. So you can kind of get a feel for what does coaching actually look like. So that's a great spot to see it in action.
If you're in Winnebago County, we are also part of the CLTS services there. So if you're interested in receiving some services, you could reach out to your case manager as well.
Okay. All right, Mandy, Jen, thank you. All right, Kosh listeners, you know what this means. It means we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Want to take a moment here and say thank you. Thank you for giving us your minds, giving us your ears. Thank you for caring about another amazing person in our community or people in our community doing amazing things out here, making our community a better place, being cool neighbors, helping us be better parents. Like, how much better does that get, right? I've never heard of Empowered Minds Kids Studio prior to today, but I learned a lot today and I feel better knowing they're out here helping to make kids' spaces better and parents better at being parents. So that's amazing. All right. So as you know, the Kosh, we are trying to become the #1 podcast in all of Wisconsin. Need your help to do that. How can you help? Well, there's some things. All right. First of all, if you would like to be a guest on the Kosh, would love to have you. If you'd like to recommend a guest for the Kosh, would love to have you. If you would like to put a commercial on the Kosh, would love to do it. If you would like to make statements, record things, and have a segment on the Kosh, let's talk about it. Like, we're open, we're community, we're fluid. All right. So you can reach out to us. We do have a voicemail. That is 920-385-5073. Once again, 920-385-5073. And also, you can always email us, which is the number one contact way, which is how we met Mandy and Jen. And you can reach us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. Also, what I need you to do is we're trying to get in front of more eyes and ears. We do have a great following, but we think we have something really special here. And the more eyes and ears that can learn about the Kosh and these amazing people living in our region and the amazing things that they're doing, like we're making community better, just point blank, period. So, first of all, while you're listening to this, take time, go on and give us that 5-star rating. Hit that rating. Give us the 5 stars. And if you've got a few more moments, just go ahead and fill out a review and tell us we're amazing. No, I'm just playing. You tell us whatever you need to tell us because we know we're a work in progress. But we ain't mad at you if you decide to tell us we're really amazing. All right. So now on to the fun part of the show, and that is this. It is shout out time. So who's kicking off these shout outs?
Winnebago County CLTS. We have 2 ladies over there that have been amazing to work with, Bridget and Julene. So Bridget and Julene, if you're listening, thank you so much for helping us hit the ground running and being our cheerleaders and being so supportive.
NAMI Fox Valley has been phenomenal as well, just very collaborative, and we've got some great ideas in motion with them that we're so excited about in the coming months.
Okay. That was all the shout outs?
Also shout out to you for having us.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'll take it. Okay. Well, my shout outs for this week. I want to give a special shout out to my fraternity brother, T. Sims. He is kicking off a podcast called Music Life in the Pew. I went and recorded his first episode with him, and he's ready. It's going to be fire. So when he really releases this thing, I'm going to make sure that I share it out here with the Kosh listeners. It's fantastic. He's got this fantastic studio. They're going to have live music during some of these episodes. So we're talking about something cool. He's coming out of Green Bay. So I'm just proud that he actually has put out his first, or he has produced his first episode, and he's got a concept here that's going to be fire for our region. So I'm super excited about that. I also want to send a special shout out to our county veteran service offices and officers. If you're a veteran out there and you haven't connected with your county veteran service office, you need to, because let's quit being stubborn. No, y'all don't like dealing with things. It's not the VA. They will get your benefits in line. You need to go ahead and make that happen. Quit being old grumpies. I know how y'all get down. But I went to go do a visit with the Outagamie County Veteran Service Office and just had an amazing talk. They're so resourceful. They're connected to all the resources. You know, just make sure you stop in there and find out that and get connected to everything that you deserve because you serve this country. I cannot stress that enough. I want to send a special shout out to Junior Achievement and the Biz Town. If y'all don't know, there's this amazing thing that our Junior Achievement in our region has called Biz Town, which is a mock of a city. I got an opportunity to go. I've been part of Biz Town several times now, but I got to go do a keynote in front of their board. And every time I get in front of the space, whether it's the kids themselves or the leaders who are leading this amazing resource, it just makes me so proud to live in a region where we have a resource like this, where they are truly preparing our youth to be amazing residents within our multiple cities, our Fox cities. So if you don't know what it is, you need to check it out. And if you've got a business out there that's looking for something to get involved in, you need to go check it out. And if you are an organization who deals with youth, you need to check it out. So let me just stress that over and over again. All right, it's going to blow you away. I want to send a special shout out to Rhea and Ariella. They're moving away, going back to New York. Gonna miss y'all. All right. Special shout out to the Omalade Academy, who's who just had their open house. I am excited for this charter school, this African American charter school, and the things that they are about to introduce into our region. Big shout out to African Heritage, and particularly to Dr. Bola and to Dr. Robbins for the things that you did to be able to make this happen in our region. We are so lucky. Big happy birthday to my partner in crime, Andy. You already know, girl. And last, never ever least, the biggest shout out always goes to my wife, who continues to let us produce a podcast in this house. Thank you, baby. I love you. All right. Now, last thing to do here on the Kosh, and that is this. You got 3 choices, A, B, C. Okay. Choice number 1. And don't give me this look, because I need something from both of y'all. Not this is not an and, this is both. Both. And it is this. Option A is share with the Kosh listeners some parting words of wisdom. Option B, tell us what would yourself today tell your 13-year-old self. And option C, you can do both, because every good multiple choice test gives you the option to do both things. So, who would like to kick it off? There's finger pointing going on here, Kosh listeners. Whoever's ready.
I'm ready. Words of wisdom. No one is promised tomorrow. Enjoy the moments with those that you love now. Lean into joy. My 13-year-old self words would be you. Live your life, shine your light, and don't let anyone dull that sparkle.
Yes. My parting words of wisdom. Everything that you need is already within you, right? So don't wait for someone else to hand you or to light your fire. You have your own matches. So light your own fire, shine your light. That's what I would tell my 13-year-old self too.
All right. Okay. What did y'all think?
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
You know what it is? It's the Kosh.